I was in our kitchen, 7 months pregnant, holding a note I'd just written. That's how we talked. Paper, hands, looks, silence with rules. Graham stood behind me, reading over my shoulder, close enough to fog my neck.
Evelyn, I need to tell you something.
I froze because my husband had just spoken, a voice I'd never heard in our entire marriage. The note slid from my fingers like my life had lost traction. Let me go back. Start from the beginning. I'm in my late 60s now. But this story began when I was in my mid-30s and exhausted by quiet loneliness. I worked long hours drafting plans and chasing approvals. I ate dinner over a sink, then fell asleep to my own refrigerator hum. Every weekend, my mother called with the same heat in her voice. Weddings, babies, comparisons. Time is running. I told myself I didn't care. Then I'd hang up and stare at the wall like it could answer me back. One Sunday, she said she had a special man. His name was Graham Mercer. Successful in enterprise software, she said, like that explained everything. And then she lowered her voice, like it was a prayer. He was deaf, she said, after an accident years ago. Fully deaf, but brave, adapted. Such a good man. I should have heard the sales pitch. I heard a door opening, a man who wouldn't shame me for being unmarried, a man who might value patience over charm, a man who, in my mind, would be gentle because he had to be. I agreed to one dinner, just one. We met at an expensive little place with candles and too much linen. Graham arrived in a tailored suit and a quiet, steady smile. He watched my mouth carefully when I spoke. He slid a small notepad across the table like it was romantic. We wrote sentences back and forth like teenagers passing secrets. He made my awkwardness feel graceful. I started learning sign language in the evenings. My fingers cramped, my brain ached. But Graham was patient, guiding my hands with warm precision. His mother, Lenora, adored the whole performance. She hosted Sunday dinners in a house that swallowed sound. She watched us sign across the table like it was a miracle. Her eyes would glisten. Her voice would shake with gratitude. Lenora told me about his ex who left after the accident. She painted the woman as shallow, cruel, unworthy. I believed it because it fit the story I needed. I wanted to be the woman who stayed. Less than a year later, he proposed in silence, a message arranged in neat letters where the tide could erase it. I said yes with my hands and my whole shaking chest. I told myself I'd finally been chosen. Not as a last option, as a real one. We married in a small ceremony with an interpreter up front. I signed vows with tears soaking my lashes. I thought our love was pure because it was deliberate. Nothing blurted out. Nothing careless. Everything measured. Everything intentional. We moved into a charming house in a quiet, leafy neighborhood. Graham's business was booming. He worked late, but always looked calm. Lenora suggested I cut back at my job. "You'll want to focus on your home," she said, smiling sweetly. I didn't fight it hard enough. Deep down, I was tired of being strong in public. A few months later, I got pregnant. I ran to him with the test in my trembling hands. He pulled me close and signed slowly, carefully.
"You'll be an amazing mother."
I melted, because I thought that sentence cost him effort. I thought love looked like work. Pregnancy hit me like a storm that wouldn't move on. Nausea all day. Sleep that never restored me. I quit my job earlier than planned. Lenora was thrilled. She called it my true season. Wife, mother, quiet support. One afternoon, she said something that chilled me. She'd never worked after having Graham. "A man needs peace at home," she said, like it was scripture. I told myself my marriage was different. I told myself Graham was different. Then came that night in the kitchen. Rain against the windows, stove heat, my feet swollen. I wrote him a simple question about dinner. Normal wife things, routine, safety. He stepped behind me, close, familiar. "Evelyn, I need to tell you something." I turned, slow, as if my body knew first. His lips moved. Sound came out. Not a whisper, not a mistake. Words. "I'm not deaf." My brain refused the sentence like it was poison. I stared at him, waiting for the joke to reveal itself. The baby kicked hard, like it hated the air. I gripped the counter to keep from collapsing. I tried to speak, but my throat locked.
I can hear you. I've always heard you.
My skin went cold under the kitchen light. Every signed "I love you" flashed in my mind like a crime scene. I forced one word out. How?
It wasn't lying, exactly. It was a test.
A test. Like I was an applicant? Like love was a screening process?
I needed someone who'd love me for me. Someone patient, someone kind, someone committed.
I felt my heartbeat in my teeth. I asked the question I didn't want answered. Who else knew?
My mother knew.
The room tilted. Lenora's grateful tears, the speeches, the saintly smiles. Suddenly it wasn't touching. It was staged. And then another thought punched through me. My mother. The relentless pushing. The special man. I looked at Graham and saw it. Not certainty. Calculation. I backed away, hands over my belly like armor. I had learned an entire language for a lie. I quit my career for a lie. I built a life inside a lie.
You chose those things.
My laugh came out sharp and wrong. I chose them because you manufactured my reality. I chose them because I thought you needed me to survive. My voice rose until it cracked. Get out.
Evelyn, please.
Get out of my kitchen. Get out of my house. The chicken burned. The smoke alarm didn't. That's how numb I was. He left with his keys and his intact hearing. I slid to the floor and couldn't stand back up. My hands kept signing nonsense to empty air, like muscle memory begging for something true. I called my sister, Nora, and sobbed until she understood. She arrived fast, found me surrounded by sign books and rage. I tore pages out like I could undo time. Nora held me and kept whispering my childhood nickname, the one that made me feel real again. I called my mother next. My fingers shook so hard I nearly dropped the phone. She answered bright, excited, already proud of herself. I asked her if she knew. The silence on the line was my answer. She tried to justify it with good intentions. I ended the call and threw the phone across the room. It shattered like something inside me did too. For days, Graham sent letters. Handwritten, long, apologetic. I didn't read them. I burned them, one by one, watching ink curl into smoke. Lenora came by and spoke through my door like a queen negotiating. She used the baby as leverage before she used my name. I told her the truth through the wood. No more tests, no more control, no more games. Weeks passed. My belly grew heavier. My savings shrank. My anger stayed enormous. Nora begged me to protect my health. She begged me to protect my child. I kept asking the same question in the dark. Who did I even marry? Eventually, I found a therapist with a calm, steady stare. I told her everything, breathless, shaking, furious. She called it what it was. Betrayal, violation, a relationship built on false terms. Then she asked something that made me hate her for a second. Did I love him before I knew? I said yes, immediately. And then I realized why that answer hurt. I didn't love his silence because it was noble. I loved it because it couldn't judge me out loud. That truth didn't excuse him. It just exposed me too. A week later, I agreed to one session with Graham present. One. I walked in with rules in my throat like steel. He looked thinner, wrinkled, desperate, and he tried to sign out of habit.
Sorry, I didn't think.
I glared until his hands dropped. I asked the question I'd been saving like a blade. Why? The real why.
Because I'm a coward.
The room went quiet in a new way, not staged, not performative, just raw.
I'm awful at people. I panic in conversations. I never know what to say. Pretending gave me an excuse to be silent. It made me look brave instead of broken.
I tasted bile. So I was your cover story?
You were someone I didn't deserve, and I exploited what was good in you.
He said it like a confession and an excuse at once. I told him the consequences didn't disappear with honesty. I told him a baby was coming no matter what. And I told him control was over.
Tell me what you need.
I didn't soften. Not yet. I needed proof, not promises. I moved back into the house before delivery, but he slept in the guest room. We weren't a couple. We were two adults sharing consequences. The night my daughter arrived, she screamed like she was outraged for me. They placed her on my chest, warm and perfect and furious. I looked up and saw Graham crying in the corner. He didn't speak at first, not because he couldn't breathe through it. I asked if he wanted to hold her.
Please.
I handed her over, watching his face change. Wonder, terror, love that looked untrained and real.
She's perfect.
I swallowed the grief that rose with that word.
Because perfect was the lie I used to live in, and I was done living in lies. When we got home, I laid down my next rule. His mother was not welcome until I said so. My mother would not advise my marriage again, and therapy would continue. No excuses, no shortcuts. I'll do it. He said it fast, like agreement could erase damage. It couldn't, but it was a start.
Tonight, he's in the guest room. Our daughter is asleep in her crib, fists clenched. And tomorrow, Lenora will come knocking again. This time, I won't be the one being tested.